Hey guys, well, here we go. I have, you know what, this is your West Coast debut here at Hollywood Fight Nights. We have the undefeated Kazakhstanian, Ali Akhmedov. Welcome. How excited are you to be on the you are the main event for the Hollywood Fight Nights tomorrow night?
Ну, я как бы не чувствую волнения. Вот, я очень длительный сбор прошел к этому бою, и поэтому я готов.
No, I'm not feeling any worries. You know, I was preparing for this for a long time, so I'm ready 100%.
I just learned that you came in right now. We haven't even done the weigh-ins yet. You came in 2 pounds underweight, and you had to go eat. What did you go eat right now? Cheeseburgers, burgers, what did you eat?
Да, ну мы сходили, покушали, и сейчас с весом все в порядке. Вот, мы покушали курицу, выпили чая, покушали бананы.
I heard a banana in there.
Yes, we went around the corner and we had some chicken, some tea, and some bananas, and you know now we're feeling good.
Usually that's unheard of that someone's underweight before a weigh and they can eat all of that. These fighters are jealous. All right, and you are fighting, and you're fighting Jorge Escalante. You're undefeated. You want to make sure your zero stays. What do you know about Jorge?
Ну, я посмотрел его пару боев, ну и мне как бы без разницы, с кем сейчас боксировать. Я готов, и этим все сказано.
I watched a couple of his fights, but honestly, there's no difference to me who to fight. So I'm ready, and that's all you need to know.
Well, good luck in the ring. All right. All right. Back.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, our main event of the evening, 6 rounds, cruiserweights. Making his way to the ring first, fighting into the blue corner from San Diego, Jorge Escalante.
Sharks out there trying to take a bite of something. It was hot. A lot of chameleons out there trying to change up.
And there is Jorge Escalante. One note about this fight, the contracted weight was 177, and that man, he didn't care about any contract. He came in at 190.6.
So that's an old school cruiserweight right there.
Yeah. That's a very basic white t-shirt he's wearing too. Yeah.
Does not have really the physique of a cruiserweight.
And his opponent tonight, fighting out of the red corner, undefeated from Kazakhstan, Ali Akhmedov.
And here comes Ali Akhmedov, and leading him into the ring is a familiar face to boxing fans, the trainer of Gennady Golovkin, Murat Gassiev, and in the past, terrible Terry Norris and Orlin Norris, Miguel Angel Gonzalez, among others, Dr. Abel Sanchez of the Summit. And Akhmedov has been there since about March. A lot talked about what could be one of the future players at 175.
And we'll get a better idea after tonight's bout.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Avalon Theater here in Hollywood, California, it is time for the main event of the evening. 6 rounds of boxing, this scheduled in the cruiserweight division. Presented by Tom Loeffler's 360 Promotions and sponsored by Tecate, the official beer of boxing, with Chivas and the MGM Grand Resorts. Sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, the executive officer in attendance, Andy Foster. Your 3 judges scoring at ringside, Jonathan Davis, Max DeLuca, and Christy Rosario. And when the action begins inside the ring, referee in charge, Zach Young. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the judges are ready and the fighters are ready. Hollywood, California, make some noise if you are ready! Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, Wearing black trunks with gold lettering, he weighed in officially 190 and 1/2 pounds. In 11 professional bouts, his record stands at 9 victories, 1 defeat, 1 draw, and 6 wins coming by way of knockout. Hailing from and fighting out of San Diego, California, here is Jorge Escalante. And next, his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner. Wearing solid black trunks, he weighed in 176 and 1/2 pounds. In 11 professional bouts, he stands perfect, 11 victories, no defeats, 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the undefeated cruiserweight out of Almaty, Kazakhstan, Ali Akhmedov. Once again, your referee, Zach Young, with the final instruction.
Change the plan. Ali, George, you already had the. Okay. Wait for his 2 seconds. Okay. All right, Chief. Well, show me some good. You already had the instructions. Good luck.
Tail of the tape here, Akhmedov, the younger man, 10 years younger at age 23. He's taller by 2 inches, and he has a very slight reach advantage.
And we begin round number 1. And Doug, it'll be interesting to see if the weight advantage, if you want to call it that, for Escalante plays much of a factor here against Ali Akhmedov.
Yeah, it remains to be seen if that extra poundage will be an advantage. Like I said, he doesn't really have the frame to carry 190 pounds. Akhmedov actually does. He does have that kind of bone structure. Definitely looks like the professional athlete of the two.
Akhmedov last month was at Legends. They actually got in some rounds with Dimitri Bivol. Talk about that later. I believe Cynthia Conte has someone lined up. Cynthia, talk to us.
Hey, Beltran here, watching some fights, you know, just kicking back. And you're a new champ. You got the belt, and you have a fight in 2 weeks, correct?
Yeah, 2 weeks, almost. Yeah, August 25th, so we're almost there.
You're almost there. You ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, we're ready. We're anxious right now already. It's time. We're on the stage where we just want to go and fight already, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, you're on a little break. You get to watch some fights. Did you get to watch any of the fights earlier?
Oh, yeah, I did. I just, it was a good fight, you know? I came to see my boy, AB Lopez.
Yeah. Did you see Duckman earlier? Oh, no, AB, well, they train up out of Wild Card also.
Yeah, you know, I got here late, you know? I just barely make it. Yeah.
LA traffic?
LA traffic. I was training, but the traffic kind of messed it up.
Yeah. Okay, when you saw AB, because he thanked you in the ring for sparring and you helped him get prepared for this fight, what did you see in the fight?
No, he did good. You know, he did really good. He fought a guy, this tough guy, you know, and I know him because I sparred with both of them in the gym, you know. So they're both good fighters, you know. It was a good test for AB, but I think for both of them, you know what I mean? It was a good fight.
All right, well, I'll let you get back to fights because I hear it's loud. I love thunderous sounds. All right, well, back to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Cynthia, thank you very much. And Ray Beltran takes on Jose Pedraza late August for the WBO lightweight title. A pretty good round here for Ali Akhmedov against Escalante, who at times, as he is now, going to the southpaw stance.
Yeah, he's crafty in there, and you know, I would say that Escalante moves pretty well for a guy with a roly-poly sort of physique. But the round has been under the command of Akhmedov. He's had a nice quick jab. He's landed the power punches, mainly his right hand. He's also landed some nice left hooks to the body. But Escalante's pesky.
Yeah.
He's not putting any power behind his punches, but he is able to reach out and just kind of put hands on Akhmedov.
And that's the end of round number 1. And Akhmedov goes back to the red corner. He'll be instructed by Abel Sanchez. And Doug, I talked to Abel about his thoughts on Akhmedov, and he made it very clear. He wants him to be a more offensive fighter. He says, bottom line, if you don't throw punches, you're not going to belong in my gym. And in the past, Akhmedov was at the Mayweather gym, and you know, that philosophy over there is a little bit more defensive.
It is different.
Yeah.
We should also note that Akhmedov was an amateur standout, and even Gennady Golovkin, the current form that we're used to seeing from Golovkin, that took a couple of years for Abel Sanchez to foster in him. Golovkin's amateur style was not the same as his professional style. That is something that does take time.
Yeah, and speaking of Golovkin, Max Golovkin is right there in the corner as one of the seconds for Akhmedov.
Yeah, I believe Max Golovkin is like a co-manager for Akhmedov. Steve, I read your story on tonight's card in Akhmedov that was on UCN Live. And you had a nice scouting report from Ryan Scalia.
Oh, King Hipster.
Yeah, well, you know, Ryan Scalia's seal of approval.
That means something.
Yes, it does.
It really does.
Because he hasn't just seen the pro bouts, he's seen the amateur bouts.
He's probably seen their first fight at a playground in Kazakhstan in the 4th grade.
And he knows who the opponent was. He knows who the other guy was.
You know, if you ask Ryan Scalia for a top 10 Kazakhstan 18 and under southpaws, he will give you that list. Speaking of the light heavyweight division, and that's what Akhmedov is, even though he is fighting technically as a cruiserweight tonight. Doug, I was surprised but not stunned by Kovalev Alvarez. I thought when Marcus Brown was replaced by Alvarez that
much tougher fight.
It was a much tougher fight.
I viewed it as a 50-50 matchup. So folks that are, bettors, I think Storm Alvarez was a good bet. Undefeated guy, the more athletic, the quicker hands, but also the bigger fighter.
And sturdy.
Yes.
Very, very
take
sturdy.
The power. A lot of fighters, a lot of world-class light heavyweights would have wilted under the assault that Crusher put forth in rounds 4 and 6. Yeah. But Alvarez kept his composure. He remained game, and he remained confident. You saw the confidence throughout that fight.
And there is a rematch clause, and all indications are that the Crusher will enforce it. As Akhmedov has Escalante in the corner. The one thing about Escalante, looks can be deceiving. He's pretty good at nullifying and defending himself. Not really providing much of an offensive threat, but he is hanging in there.
And he's boxing well from the southpaw stance. And he moves just enough. He defends well.
Doug, I thought B-Ball got some interesting developmental rounds. No one looks good against Isaac Chilemba.
No. Nobody's looked good against Chilemba yet. And B-Ball wasn't the fighter to break that mold. But he got 12 rounds of experience, and that's exactly what he needs. He's the young gun of the elite light heavyweights at age 27.
Yeah.
And, he only has 14 pro fights.
And the one thing that was learned, though, is there's still some developing to do. I think B-Ball still needs to be a little bit more comfortable inside the pocket.
Exactly. He's not a complete fighter yet. He has good outside game. He's a good athlete. Obviously, he had a good amateur background. Good legs, educated jab, but he needs to add some pro wrinkles to that game. We're seeing some pro wrinkles from Akhmedov. I like his punch selection.
And that's the end of round number 2. We are scheduled for 6. This is our main event here at the Avalon in Hollywood. Hollywood Fight Nights brought to you by 360 Promotions. And Doug, a lot of stuff going on at 175. October 6th, Artur Beterbiev defends his IBF title against Callum Johnson. And this is a very interesting fight. I believe it's going to happen November 3rd for the WBC belt. Adonis Stevenson takes on the nail, Alexander Gavozic.
Yes, that's interesting, and that's, for a long time, Stevenson was avoiding any kind of challenge, including his #1 contender, Eleider Alvarez, for at least 2 years. But his last fight was against the top 10 guy. That was Badou Jack, and some say he was lucky to get the draw in that fight. I thought the draw was actually fair. But this was a WBC mandatory that he took, and Gvozdyk is a dangerous opponent.
You know, speaking of Badu Jack, I looked at the rankings. Badu Jack is #1 in the WBA. If you could get a Badu Jack B-ball fight done, I think that certainly would please a lot of boxing fans. The shame of the Kovalev losses, Doug, they had December 8th earmarked as that all-Russian shootout between Bivol and Kovalev. Of course, Alvarez had other plans. We begin round number 3 here. Akhmedov in the black and silver against Escalante, who had about a 13, 14-pound advantage after blowing the weight, the contracted weight of 177 at the weigh-in yesterday.
You know, the great thing about the 175-pound division is it's very strong in the top 5 or 6. And I'm happy with any one of those matchups.
Yeah.
I'm happy with a Kovalev-Alvarez rematch. I'd be happy with Alvarez versus Bivol. That's a great unification bout. If Beterbiev can get past Callum Johnson, and, you know, people think he will, although Johnson is dangerous early in that fight, he's right there in the mix as the IBF belt holder. Badu Jack is still in there in the mix. And, you know, if Stevenson wants to step up to the plate and actually fight real guys, he makes for entertaining fights.
Yeah. And here right in front of us, Akhmedov seems to be ramping up the activity just a little bit, letting his hands go.
But he's not loading up too much with those punches. It's a good punch selection. I like the poise. I like the pace that he's fighting at. The pace that he's fighting at, he's winning these rounds, but he's not tiring himself out. I like the body shots, and I think that's what he's going to have to do. Escalante can see the right hands coming. Well, if Akhmedov can be sneaky and dig the rights to the body and some hooks to the body, I think that's the way to hurt Escalante.
Right hand to the body by Akhmedov.
We're pronouncing his last name differently. Is it Akhmedov or Akhmedov? Doesn't matter?
Yeah, it doesn't really.
We'll just chant, Ali, Ali.
Oh, good left hook. That seemed to hurt Escalante in a right hand.
That's a knockdown.
And it sends him down in the corner. Zach Young administering the mandatory 8 count. So Akhmedov has begun to open up here in round number 3 on Escalante.
He made things happen once he started putting those punches together. And let's see how he scored this knockdown. And you're going to see him. See, that was a hook cross hook combination, and the hook hurt him first. And he landed that hook during an exchange right there. That's what hurt him. And then I think he goes down on the right hand. But it was the putting together of those punches. Hook cross, hook cross, hook cross that got the job done.
So we begin round number 4, and let's see if Ali Akhmedov can come out there and press the advantage and come through with a stoppage victory, which I'm sure would please Abel Sanchez.
Akhmedov has stepped up the pace. And we'll see if he steps up the activity, the punch output. And I think that would be a good idea, but it's also a good idea for him to continue with the combinations. Because if he's just throwing jabs, single jabs, and single right hands, even if they're lead right hands, which he's very good at, Escalante sees these coming. He's able to cover up and block most of those punches. And I would say Escalante is in survival mode. That was a nice combination. Akhmedov's footwork is a little bit better than I expected. From what I'd heard of him and what I'd seen on YouTube, he looked a little more plodding, a little more flat-footed. He doesn't have to be. Oh, that's enough.
Wow.
Zach Young has seen enough.
Yeah.
Wow.
Zach Young with the mercy wave off here in round number 4 with Akhmedov rolling downhill since round number 3. So Akhmedov improves to 12-0, scoring his 9th stoppage. Doug, I'm not so sure what was really proved tonight. That question earlier from Robert Montano. You know, he's 23 years old. He now has a dozen bouts under his belt. I still look at him as a prospect.
Yes, he's a prospect. We got our first live look at him. I like what I see. He's got a lot of tools. There's a lot there for a veteran trainer like Abel Sanchez to work with. He just needs to stay active, stay in the gym at the Summit, get in that good sparring, and we'll see what happens in about 12 months.
All right, let's send it up to Joe Martinez.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes officially 1 minute 43 seconds. Round number 4. Referee Zach Young puts a halt to the bout. Your winner by KO victory and still undefeated, Ali Akhmedov.